Good morning. My name is Enke. This month in the Giant Factory Book Club, we have an ongoing challenge, a very interesting one. It's a 5-minute video book summary challenge. All that is required is that of the several books that you would have read within the period of this lockdown, you pick up just one and do a 5-minute video summary of that book. How interesting is that? Okay, I'm so excited because within the period of this lockdown, I've been opportune to read like 3 books, I think. I started with The Parable of the Pipeline by Buck Hedges, and then I read The Alchemist, a very interesting book. And of course, I just got done with the book The Jewish Phenomenon by Stephen Steele Bigger. Okay, but this morning my book challenge will be based on The Parable of the Pipeline, and like I said, it was written by Buck Hedges and it was published in 2001. It's a small book. I think it's just about 125 pages or so, but it's packed with wisdom nuggets. It's a story of two friends, Pablo and Bruno. Both of them were ambitious. Both of them were big dreamers. They had this dream of becoming the wealthiest people, in their nation or city at the time. And one day an opportunity presented itself. The streams in the village where they were dried up, so the villagers needed people to go to a stream far away and bring in water. They agreed that they were going to pay 1 penny per bucket of water, and that was a very lucrative opportunity for Bruno and Pablo, so they keyed into it. Early in the morning, both of them will run to the stream with 2 buckets of water each, return to the village, and then collect their money. Money was flowing, business was good. At some point, they even had to set a goal for themselves that they were going to earn $1 every day, which meant that, of course, they had to repeat the process several times in a day to be able to do that. But everything was fine. They were making much money and they were okay. But after a while, the stress of doing that started getting to them, especially to Pablo. He started having all these body pains. The stress was becoming unbearable for him. So he decided to sit down one day and think of a better plan, a better way to conduct the business. And as God will have it, he stumbled on an idea. And the idea was to build a pipeline from the stream down to the village. But when he shared the idea with Bruno, Bruno did not take it at all. Bruno could not understand, why his friend was not comfortable with the way they were conducting their business. He started asking him, do you have the money? Do you have the time? Do you have the resources? Do you even know how it's done? Have you ever seen anybody building a pipeline before? Come on, leave that idea. It's a useless idea. But Pablo did not listen. So he had to come up with a plan. He decided I was going to spend, since he couldn't do this full time, he couldn't do the pipeline building full time. He decided that he was going to spend half of the day building the pipeline, and the other half he would do the bucket carrying business. So he would still go to the stream, fetch water with buckets, and of course bring it to the village to serve his customers and get money. But since he was doing this, he was not putting in enough time into the bucket carrying business. His friend Bruno was now making so much money, and he was buying all the flashy things he needed. He bought a new hut, he bought shoes, he bought clothes, and he was flaunting it in Pablo's face rather. He was flaunting it in Pablo's face. But Pablo did not allow that get to him at all. He had this ideology that short-term pain leads to long-term gain, and that was his driving force. He was focused on his goal, of building the pipeline. After a while, Bruno and the other villagers started mocking Pablo. They started calling him Pablo the big dreamer, Pablo the pipeline builder, and several names like that. But Pablo did not allow that bother him at all. Several months went by and Pablo's pipeline was finished. His pipeline project was completed. But at this time, the stress of bucket carried was already telling on Bruno. He was already looking old, looking tired, and of course hunched over. But by this time, the tables turned. It was now Pablo's turn, to reap the fruits of his labor. And of course, he didn't have to struggle to do anything again. All he just needed to do was just to turn on the tap and then the water would just flow through the pipeline to the villagers. So whether he was sleeping, whether he was sleeping or not, he was making money. Whether he was out of town, he was making money. Whether he was eating, he had financial freedom. He could do anything he wanted to do, and there was still money dropping into his account. The story is a very interesting story. I'm sorry to cut it here because I just noticed that my 5 minutes is out, but it's a very interesting story. It tells of two different classes of people: bucket carriers and pipeline builders. And like the author explained, if you're into a job that you have to trade your time for money, you are a bucket carrier. Pipeline builders are people that build businesses. So this kind of people, whether they are sleeping, whether they are on a trip, whether they are in town or not, they are making money. They are making money. So it's a book I would recommend to everybody, especially in this economy. You need to have a pipeline that you are building. It's a very interesting book, and I know the books are available in bookshops. So get the book, and I know you'll thank me for it. Thank you so much.